which week 2 spreads are must bets. Welcome, football fans and gridiron gamblers. It's Mitch here with my 5 best bets versus the spread for week 2 of the 2025 NFL season. My 5 favorite spread picks of the week, every week of the NFL season. Before I get started, just a reminder that if you want my real bets that I'm making, including my favorite pick of the week, it's on Patreon. $5 a month, every month, for all of my NFL bets. Now, let's begin with the must-bets of week 2. Gronk, spike the like button. Show your love and your support for the new Money Mitch channel. And subscribe if you enjoy. Let's kick it off with my first pick of week 2. It's the Houston Texans. We're going backwards. Monday Night Football. The Houston Texans at home, -2.5 versus the Buccaneers. I feel very good about this one. Right, week 2's a little bit different than week 1. Week 1, we're still sort of guessing. We're taking our priors. We're taking our offseason information. We're making our best guess on our bets. Week 2, we at least got a little sample size. We got a little brief information from these teams. And this is a great spot for me for the Houston Texans. They're at home on Monday Night Football against a beat-up and battered Bucs team coming off a highly emotional divisional win. It's perfect. The Texans lost. CJ Stroud's angry. He even mentioned that his team didn't try hard enough. So CJ Stroud's going to come out firing. The Texans are going to come out terrifying. And I believe that their defense is going to be the story of this game. Think back to last year. This is the top defense in football for me. Broncos are fantastic. There's other good defenses. But to me, the Texans are the top defense. And last year, a big reason I believe that is because at home, it didn't matter the offense really. The only offense that succeeded against this unit was Baltimore. And they're very unique in their run approach, right? Buffalo, the MVP, he had his worst game of the year. The top offense in the NFL in points, Detroit, they struggled. Jared Goff had 5 picks or something crazy in Houston, right? The best offenses in Houston have struggled. And the Texans have a pass rush at home with the crowd noise in the dome against no Tristan Wirfs and Baker Mayfield, who likes to hold the ball, and Baker Mayfield, who's a good quarterback, but he makes dicey decisions, right? He's going to try to do extra. And against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, they're going to hunt you down, man. And they're going to force mistakes. They're going to force a fumble. They're going to force an interception because they're going to get pressure. And we saw Stafford take sacks, take hits, and take pressure. And they held a Rams offense that in this current state with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, their full offensive line, Kyron Williams, at home in LA, they're a better offense than the Bucs currently, right? They're adjusting to no Liam Cohen, which certainly had an impact, especially in the run game, right? They couldn't run the ball against Atlanta. I don't think they'll be able to run the ball against Houston. Mike Evans will be shadowed by arguably the best man-to-man corner in football in Derek Stingley. Emeka Egbuka will get his because the slot is sort of the weakness of the Texans defense. If you're going to target anywhere, it is that spot. But the Texans are so fast in the middle of their defense. Their safeties are so ferocious, man. This defense is going to come out hard. They're going to hit. They're going to play with speed, hunger. They're at home in Houston, okay? I don't see the Bucs scoring more than 17 points. I really don't. I mean, they struggled to score and move the ball against Atlanta at times, who's not a good defense. And again, they're on the road for another one here. And I don't really love the secondary options beyond what they have with Evans and Egbuka. And if Evans is kind of taken away by Stingley, Cade Otton, Sterling Shepard, they don't have Chris Godwin, right? And then defensively, the Bucs do like to blitz, and they're very creative with their blitzes, and Todd Bowles is good in that facet. But I do believe that Nick Caley, having his experience under Sean McVay has torched Todd Bowles in the past. Like, if there are elements of that, I do believe that Stroud's going to have answers for where to go with the ball hot against these blitzes. And a young quarterback like Michael Penix just settled in and ripped the rock against the Bucs defense. Like, you can throw the ball against the Bucs defense. They're going to overcompensate, try to take away the run. And who cares? I mean, Nick Chubb, sacrifice him to get 2 yards a carry. Like, seriously, I think Nico Collins gets going in this game after a week one. The Bucs don't really shadow wide receiver ones very well. I mean, they've never taken away a top talent like Nico Collins. Like, the Rams intentionally doubled him, tried to take him out of the game. I don't see that strategy coming from the Bucs. Christian Kirk could return here for the slot option for a quick chain mover. And I do think Stroud's motivated. I do think the Texans, I don't see them starting 0-2. And the Bucs are just too beat up, specifically in areas that really hinder them against the Texans, like the left tackle position against the best edge rush in the NFL. So I like the Texans. I think they're the better team. They're at home. They're only laying less than a field goal. I'll take the Texans here. Next, my New England Patriots getting a point. I just take the money line at the Miami Dolphins. Now, take any Patriots pick throughout the season with a grain of salt and really try to do your own evaluation, because I do realize, and I'm going to be upfront and honest, I am a Patriots fan. So I do have some sense of bias. I try to take my bias out, right? Guys, I'm actually betting on the Patriots. So, like, it's my money, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't just bet to bet my own team. I'm not an idiot. I at least hope not. You know what I mean? But with the Miami Dolphins, right? I think this is more about the Dolphins than it is about the Patriots, to be fair. A couple things, though, right? Like, traditionally, I know to stay away from this because Miami has been a house of horrors for the Patriots, specifically the dynasty and Tom Brady. I don't really know what it's going to be like with Drake May, but the thing is with Miami right now, this is the biggest joke in the NFL. Like, they're the biggest disaster in the NFL, and I want to ride this wave. Like, I want to take advantage of it while it's hot. What we saw in Indianapolis, Daniel Jones looked like Peyton Manning. He looked like Johnny Unitas. Like, are you kidding? Storm Duck in the Miami secondary was getting shredded by Daniel Jones. Like, think about that for a second. Jonathan Taylor had a good game too. It's not just the passing game. The run game was fine too. It's perfect. You know what I'm saying? So, Drake May, he actually was really good in the first half. A lot of people didn't watch that Raiders game. He had a really strong first half. In the second half, the rain really was coming down in New England, and Drake May suffered because of it. And they really couldn't throw the ball down the field the way they wanted. It's in Miami. It's going to be hot. Drake May's from North Carolina. He's down south. He knows that weather. He knows those conditions. And I do believe that the Patriots are going to have opportunities to throw the ball against one of the weakest, if not the weakest, corner group in football. Kayshon Boutte, whatever you want to call him. He had a really good game. He's looking like a breakout player for them. I do think Josh McDaniels gets Diggs, gets Douglas, gets Henderson involved more than they were in week one. And I think Drake May has a huge bounce back performance. I think he makes plays with his legs. I think he makes plays down the field. I believe in Drake May. I think he's a better quarterback than Tua. And Tua is absolutely looking like a guy that should be benched. He's staring down his first target. If his first read is not there, he just completely goes scatterbrain. He looks like he has CTE. He doesn't know what he's doing. And Tyreek Hill is losing it. Like, he's just crashing out with consistency. And the offensive line, man, like, the biggest thing here, the offensive line is signing guys off the street like former Patriot Cole Strange to probably play against them because their guys are getting hurt. Like, they put Daniels on IR. They're playing against Milton Williams. Milton Williams had 6 pressures against the Raiders. The Raiders have a better offensive line than the Dolphins. Milton Williams led all defensive tackles in pressures last week. Harold Landry leads the NFL in sacks. If those guys are good to go and ready to rock, they're going to get pressure on Tua. And Tua, with pressure and not being able to get to his first read, he's going to struggle, like, mightily. Mike Vrabel has beaten Tua before. He's beaten McDaniel before in Miami with Will frickin' Levis as a dog. Mike Vrabel has traditionally been a great dog coach. And I just believe at the foundation, beyond all the X's and O's, beyond all of it, Mike Vrabel is a great motivator. Mike Vrabel is a great leader, and he'll have his team ready after a loss. They're learning. They're growing. Everyone thought New England would be better than Miami. Like 90% of humans thought New England would be better than Miami this year, and yet they're underdogs. I know it's in Miami, okay? And I know it's a tough place to play, but still. And then on the other side, we're talking about a Miami team that is lost, a Miami team that doesn't have an identity. They're constantly being called soft. Like, the Dolphins are done. Like, that's what I'm trying to say, basically. Like, they're fried. Squish the fish, Patriots. So, yeah, I like the Patriots here quite a bit. I almost feel like I like them too much. It's kind of getting a little crazy. But you do need to check the injury report because there are a couple guys that popped up on there for the Patriots. Make sure you check that injury report on Friday. If Christian Gonzalez plays, though, this is a slam dunk home run pick. Because if Christian Gonzalez plays, Tyreek Hill is going to probably snap. Next, Philadelphia Eagles, -1 at the Chiefs. I broke down this game in my early bets. I'm sticking by it. I'm standing with it. Jalen Hurts has succeeded against Steve Spagnuolo. This offensive line is like a cheat code against the Chiefs. The Chiefs can't get pressure. Did you watch them against the Chargers? They couldn't touch Justin Herbert. Jalen Hurts, he's almost comical with how much time he has in the pocket. And I assume Landon Dickerson's going to play. I'm going to have to take a closer look at that on the injury report, but the Eagles' offensive line is really, really strong, and they just don't allow anyone to get after Hurts, and we saw how that went for the Chiefs last week. Like, they couldn't get pressure on Herbert, and he shredded them up and down the field, and the Eagles' receivers are angry, man. Like, Devontae Smith didn't get the ball. A.J. Brown didn't get the ball. People are calling A.J. Brown, like, washed, right? They're going to get the ball to those guys in this game. The Chiefs looked slow and old on defense. Saquon, right? They're going to have to resort to stuffing the box and stacking the box to stop Saquon like they did in the Super Bowl. And then that's going to open everything up down the field like it did in the Super Bowl. Hurts has proven to outplay Mahomes multiple times on multiple occasions on the biggest stage. I don't know why he couldn't do it in Arrowhead against the Chiefs. And yeah, like the Eagles' vanilla approach is almost like, it's so vanilla that, like, it works against the Chiefs because the Chiefs are so, like, dramatic and they have all these blitzes and stuff, and the Eagles just have the answers. They just have those wide receiver matchups. They have the pick the poison offense that just makes life really difficult on Steve Spagnuolo because he can't stop everything and it frustrates him, right? So I like the offense of the Eagles there. And defensively, I mean, it's just so obvious. Like, the Chiefs have no weapons. Travis Kelce is slower than me running backwards. Hollywood Brown is their number one receiver, and his ADOT is like 6 yards a catch. You know, they could easily just stick Quinyon Mitchell on him and shut him down. Tyquan Thornton, are you kidding me? Like, that's the field stretcher now. Mahomes can't throw the ball deep in general, and now all of a sudden, he's going to have to throw it to Tyquan Thornton. I mean, last year he couldn't throw the ball deep. Now you're going to count on Tyquan Thornton to do it. Okay, all right, we'll see. Juju Smith-Schuster, you know, so slow. Like, the Eagles linebackers are awesome. Bond and Campbell were the highlight for me against Dallas. They were all over the middle of the field. And Cooper DeJean, you know, tackling underneath those screens and RPOs. He was so good in the Super Bowl against this offense. Fangio knows how to defend Mahomes and Andy Reid. He has plenty of experience against them from that Super Bowl, but then also beyond that. That's why I like the Eagles in the Super Bowl, because he was so good against Mahomes with Denver. I think that carries over. It's a scheme thing. It's an approach thing. Jalen Carter's back, and he's super angry. I think Josh Uche plays more, who was the PFF's number one edge rusher last week, didn't play enough. He'll get some pressure that they didn't really get against Dallas, with Carter on the field, with Uche playing more snaps, with Zadarius Smith involved. I think the Eagles will get more pressure on Mahomes. Also, I think Dallas's offensive line and Dallas's weapons might be better than Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs' weapons and offensive line. So I think the Eagles are just a very difficult matchup for Kansas City. I understand that it's hard to imagine the Chiefs going 0-2. I understand that the Chiefs, you know, maybe their defense plays with more pride. I could certainly see that. And their coaching staff's awesome, and they want revenge for the Super Bowl. But I simply don't think they have the players, specifically on offense. They have no explosiveness. They have no running game. I think they just really suffer to move the ball, and I think eventually the dam breaks for the Chiefs defense, and Jalen Hurts gets tush pushing into the end zone. So I have the Eagles -1 here. I really like this bet. Fourth game is the Chicago Bears +6 at the Lions. This is going to feel interesting to a lot of people because I think a lot of people will be on the Lions because the Lions lost to the Packers. They're going back home. They're in the dome. They're in their comfort. And the Lions have shown regularity the last couple of years of blowing teams out. The one thing I will say, they haven't blown out the Bears in Detroit the last couple of years. They actually kind of blew them out in Chicago last year, weirdly enough, but not in Detroit. I'm just going to throw that out there, okay? Second, this is Ben Johnson's homecoming to Detroit. You think Ben Johnson's going to lay down in this game? You think that one of the best offensive minds is not going to have all his tricks up his sleeve for this game? You don't think that Ben Johnson is going to have all these trick plays, all these magicianal, wide open guys just flying left and right? I kind of think he's going to, right? This is going to be a prove it type of game. Plus, the way that the Lions fan base responded to Ben Johnson, like, very weird. You know, like, the vibes are very weird. And honestly, like, at a fundamental level, I think that the Bears might have a better coaching staff than the Lions. Like, Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson on offense and defense are better than the Lions' schematical coaches on offense and defense. If you watch the Packers game, they had no flavor and no creativity on offense. Their defense, I mean, just basically still played the same style, man coverage, blitz every once in a while, and they got no pass rush on Jordan Love. The Bears do have a good offensive line, right? They did give up pressure against the Vikings, but the Vikings have a million different blitzes that the Lions do not have. Brian Flores is a magician with the blitzing schemes. He's a madman, right? Like, he was going to get to Caleb eventually. And they have Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. Like, the Lions just have Aiden Hutchinson. That's it. You take care of Aiden Hutchinson, like, you're good to go, I feel like. They don't have anything else, you know, on the defensive line. Like, Jordan Love had all day baking a cake back there. I mean, my goodness. So I think Caleb will have time. I think that Ben will get him some schemed up plays. And I do feel like Caleb is going to be able to scramble when they play man coverage. He looked really explosive. I do think Caleb kind of sucks. He's very inaccurate. But I do believe when you play man coverage and you play good receivers in man coverage, they're going to get separation eventually. And it's an easier throw a lot of the times. You know, if you can create that separation through motions and through stacks and through bunches and through mesh routes and things like that. But yeah, I think Caleb has a decent amount of success. But I do believe that the Bears defense, you know, they have a susceptibility against the run. The Lions run game looked not good last week. Now, a lot of that could be the Packers defense. And I'm not trying to discount the Packers defense here in their role that they played. But the Bears will have back this week TJ Edwards and Jalen Johnson and possibly Kyler Gordon, three of their best defensive players who did not play against the Vikings. That's arguably TJ Edwards and Jalen Johnson are arguably their two best players. On top of that, Gervon Dexter is a very underrated defensive tackle who I think could impact this game big time against the Lions interior. The Lions interior looked really rough. Lucas Van Ness was taking them to school. And Jared Goff, you know, Dennis Allen's going to find ways to get some pressure on him, I do believe. So I could see the Bears out coaching the Lions, which keeps them in this game. I still would probably say the Lions will find a way to win. It's hard to imagine they'll be 0-2. But man, the Bears are going to come out hungry, motivated, trying to play hard for their coach. And I like the points here. I like the coaching matchup. I like the familiarity that Ben Johnson offers. I like what Dennis Allen can do with his full arsenal on defense. And the Bears should have beat the Vikings last week. They very well should have, even if I bet the Vikings. And my fifth and final bet, my weakest play, I would say, is the Seattle Seahawks +3, but I'm going to take them here. First of all, at a fundamental level, I believe Seattle is better than the Steelers. So taking a team that I have ranked like 5 to 6 spots higher in my power rankings is not a bad idea when they're an underdog. Second, Mike Tomlin's not a great favorite, especially at home for some reason. Also, Seattle's way better on the road, believe it or not. They have this reputation of having a very loud and rowdy stadium, but this isn't the Legion of Boom era, right? They were actually 3-6 on the road last year, and they were 7-1 on the road. So, yeah, they're on the road here in Pittsburgh. And I like the matchup defensively. The Steelers' offensive line is not good. It didn't look good against the Jets. And the Seahawks had the highest pressure rate in the NFL last week against the 49ers. I prefer the 49ers pass blocking. I prefer the 49ers overall offensive line, Kyle Shanahan's scheme, all that sort of stuff. Now, Brock Purdy was able to evade. The 49ers found ways to get the ball out, things like that. Arthur Smith's not Kyle Shanahan. Aaron Rodgers can't move like Brock Purdy. Aaron Rodgers in the pocket against Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy in the interior push of what this team is going to get in Seattle, one of the strongest interiors in the NFL, it's going to be nightmares for Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be able to step up in the pocket. And I do believe that Riq Woolen, after a bad game, think he might bounce back against DK Metcalf. I do think Mike McDonald is very creative defensively in a way that Aaron Glenn is not. Aaron Glenn's very simple. Aaron Rodgers could recognize it, see it, and rip it. I think against McDonald, he's going to have to hold that ball an extra second to identify everything that's coming. Blitzes from different angles, guys dropping out, safeties rotating. Mike McDonald's very good, and Seattle's defense is very legit, and I think they're going to give Pittsburgh a lot of problems. And they're good against the run, okay? And then, on the other side, if there is a hope for Seattle's offense, which looked pretty rough last week against the Niners, it's that Pittsburgh's defense suffered and struggled against the run. And Seattle, in order to have success this year, it's going to be all about the Kubiak run scheme. And I do believe that Seattle matches up better with Pittsburgh than they do in that regard with the Niners, because the Niners, they know that scheme. I mean, that is Kyle's scheme. That is Saleh, what he practices against every week. That's what the Niners know and love, right? Like, that's their bread, that's their butter at the core. They're going to know how to stop that, right? By alignment, by, basically reading their keys. The Steelers have more struggles with that because they play more of that 3-4 style traditionally. And Belichick always had problems with that because of the personnel and the speed and the lanes that were created. So I think that Seattle could find ways to run the ball here, which is going to lead to Sam Darnold playing in more 2nd and 6s and 3rd and 4s instead of playing in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, which is where Seattle's offensive line gets exposed. JSN, I think, will have another strong game here. And I do think that Sam Darnold, getting more rapport with his receiving core, Cooper Kupp, getting more of the feel of the offense and all that stuff, I think that's a good thing for the Seattle Seahawks as well. I think this will be a dirty game, a gritty game, an ugly game, probably not watchable, which is why I'm going to take 3 points. I suspect the under 39.5 is going to hit. This could be a 1-point game, a 2-point game. In that case, 3 points is extremely valuable. So give me Seattle here with the points to potentially win the game on the road at Pittsburgh. Those are my best bets for week 2 of the 2025 NFL season. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike the like button to show your love. Don't be a jabroni, and subscribe for weekly NFL best bets, picks, and more. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.